Welcome to this week's GCN Tech Clinic. This week you have Sai and I answering your bike and tech related questions that you've been leaving in the comments section down below. As always, we're going to give the best advice we possibly can in the allotted time.
That's right. You know what? Weirdly, the first question we got here, sent in from Pbold24, they obviously knew I was coming on because they've said, "Hi, beautiful people." So yeah, that's cool. Thanks for that. Is it okay to mix different quality components on your drivetrain? My bike's currently got Shimano Ultegra Di2. My cassette's a little worn out. Could I replace it with 105? Yes, you can. 100%. I have downgraded bikes many times over the years. It's not a problem. And actually, it is a great way of saving a bit of cash, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the number of times I've ended up buying 105 or Ultegra because the Dura-Ace part has worn out because they're expensive.
They are expensive, and also, it's that thing, isn't it, where if you take it component by component, you're like, oh, well, you know, my 105 chain weighs 4 grams more than my Ultegra one. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Your cassette, what do you give away between 105 and Ultegra? It's about 50 grams or something?
It's a fair bit more weight in that region, but in the grand scheme of it, it's still a drop in the ocean.
That's it, yeah. So no, totally you can do that. Not a problem.
Richard Burgess next says, to Sir Ollie and Romeo. God.
Presumably Sai, Ollie and Romeo.
I assume so.
Yeah.
Can TPU inner tubes be patched after a puncture? If so, what is the process? We were just talking about this. You didn't think they could, but I've got some information.
Well, yeah. So the only reason I didn't think they could is because when Tubolito first came out, I'm pretty sure it said somewhere on the packaging, like, if you got a puncture, put it in the bin.
Well, things have changed now. The Pirelli TPU inner tubes, which, I mean, they're all pretty much the same kind of thing. They do supply a little patch kit that you can buy now. Essentially, what it is pieces of the inner tube cut up into little patches, and it comes with an alcohol wipe and a like contact adhesive to put it all together.
There you go. So that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Can be repaired. That's good for the environment.
It's really good for the environment and for your wallet, because they're not cheap, are they?
No, they're not.
So yeah, that's really good to know. I like that very much. Gabizzle3 said, howdy, love the videos. I want to ask if the aero bike plus light wheels versus aero bike plus aero wheels versus light bike plus light wheels versus light bike plus aero wheels will ever return for a comparison. Because I think people demanded even greater accuracy from your scientific test.
I think it's a fair demand because we didn't do the greatest job. Ollie basically turned up with a different set of tyres on one of the sets of wheels, which kind of skewed our results. So people aren't going to necessarily believe me when I say this, but it's actually quite hard to coordinate all this stuff in a day, film it, and then accurately do the tests and make it all as accurate as you can.
It is.
It's
difficult. I mean, field testing's open to errors, isn't it? You probably need to spend an entire week making that video.
Yeah. But I would like to revisit that again and do the best job we could possibly do. Is sort of in our planner as something that we keep nudging back, but I'd like to. So, yeah.
Anyway, Gabizzle says, I'm trying to make my disc brake bike upgrade and I want to know which is the prime all-rounder. So what would you go for?
I would go aero, I think. Aero bike, aero wheels. The difference between an aero frame and a lightweight frame is relatively small. Majority of it comes down to body position, but that's my preference. It's not that it's necessarily better than another setup, that's just my preference.
Do you know what I think? I think you just buy whatever frame that you like the most, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately, like, you might find yourself riding along 0.2 kilometers per hour faster on one versus another, but you've got to get it out of the garage and love it, haven't you? And if it's like, you don't like the aero bike that you bought, then it's worthless, isn't it? So
that is it.
Yeah, go for whatever your heart tells you to buy.
God, we're getting a real talk from Sai. I like it. Yeah, it's true.
Cycling's emotional, you know? I hate to say it, but it really is. So anyway, there we go. Right.
MBL0K says, what if you don't degrease your chain and apply a lube like Squirt Lube on? That's a drip-on wax-based lube, if you didn't know. Will it eventually work? If you keep reapplying it and wiping it down after rides, it should clean itself. No, it's not quite going to work. The grease is going to mean that the wax lube is never actually going to make contact with the chain. You're just effectively going to make a big mess and it's not going to work correctly. Yeah,
basically, if you put too much lube over time on your chain, it becomes like a paste.
A big grinding paste.
It basically does more harm than good. Yeah. But what it does do is it stops your chain sounding dry, doesn't it? Which, having been that guy who's like, oh, I've got to go out for a ride. Oh my God, my chain's still filthy. I don't want it to be dry.
Yeah.
Just put a little bit of lube on. And just keep my fingers crossed that it doesn't kill my chain.
Yeah.
This next one is a good one, right? Okay, from Auxjack. I ride 2 to 4 times a week and used to have 2 sets of bib shorts, which I rotated depending on my mood because they were different colours. Unfortunately, if you've only got 2, they're different colours, and you rotate them, you can't choose them depending on your mood. The colour would dictate your mood, because if you've just worn like your purple pair, then you've got to wear the next one no matter what your mood is.
And the others are probably still in the wash.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Anyway, unfortunately, one pair, had to be cut off by ambulance paramedics when I had my big crash.
Bloody hell.
Oh, God, well, I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Looking at new bib shorts, they range in price from 50 Australian dollars all the way up to several $100s. How much better is an expensive bib short? Alex, you go first.
Right.
Because I believe we disagree.
We do disagree on this. I think, like most things in life, the more you spend, generally, you're going to get a slightly better product. That said, it is going to come down to the fit of how they fit your body shape. But I do think if you spend a bit more money, you're getting more high-tech materials. Generally, a fit and cut that is slightly more figure-hugging, and the most important bit, the pad or chamois, is going to be a better quality. I'm not saying that everyone needs to rush out and buy the world's most expensive bib shorts. I think that's a general trend. You spend a bit more, you get a little bit more back.
Okay, I'm glad you added in the bit about fit, because for me, fit is way more important. I actually think cheap cycling shorts, and I'm not saying this as all cheap cycling shorts, but the ones that I've used, like Castelli's entry-level ones, my team kit from 2010 was Giordano, and I think you can probably buy that for like £5 now, those shorts. It was super comfy, and it was all about getting the fit right. And I've also used really expensive shorts that haven't fitted right, and they bunch up, and you get all sorts of saddle sores and stuff. I'd go and try some on. Basically.
This is where your local bike shop comes in handy.
Yeah,
because they can not only give you advice, but also have different types and ones to try.
Yeah, it depends how muscly your legs are, how skinny your legs are, how long you want them. So yeah, totally. I think that's more important.
Okay, next question in is from, RSDJ3BK. They say, I'm trying to improve my cornering, but I don't know how fast I should be able to go. Given my weight and 28mm tyres, is there a calculator to do the maths on maximal entry speed and angle in dry conditions? No, there is not. I've never heard of such a thing.
No, there isn't, and there couldn't be as well. Valuable cornering lesson, your speed is not just about your weight and your tyre width, it's about the road surface, it's about how clean the road surface is, it's about how tight the turn is. Like, there's so many factors that as you gain more and more experience, you just automatically calculate in your head as to what is an acceptable entry speed. But we were talking about this earlier, we've got an amazing documentary on GCN Plus actually, which is all about the art and science of cornering. And we did some scientific experiments with a stunt person.
Like a real stunt person?
So he was an ex-pro downhill mountain biker, and we basically made him go around corners faster and faster and faster and faster until he fell off. And then we threw some water on the track and made him go around again. Honestly, it's fascinating. So yeah, do check that one out.
But unfortunately, no chart.
There isn't. Well, no, there can't be. But you'll see when you've done that. But there's so many cool techniques that you can learn as well.
Well, that's interesting. Thanks. On to our last question of this week's Tech Clinic. It's from DH7314. They say, I've been a member of the Chain Wax Alliance for a few years now and love it. I'm about to get my first gravel bike. How well does it, as in chain wax, hold up in classic British mud scenarios, drip or immersion? Let me give you my examples here. A couple of weeks ago, we went on our big epic coast-to-coast ride on our new Canyon Grails, and I used a immersion hot wax chain. It lasted the entire ride. Granted, at the end of the ride, the chain was like pretty much run out of wax and needed some love and care. You didn't use a wax chain. What was your experience?
Well, at the end of an 8-hour gritty gravel ride, you kind of need to degrease your chain.
Yeah.
And sort it out, don't you?
So we were both in the same situation at the end. We just had different ways of going about it.
That's it. And you were 5 watts more efficient for the whole ride.
Which made absolutely no difference because we finished at the same time.
Yeah. No, the one thing you got to watch out for on gravel, particularly if it's dry, actually.
Yeah.
If it's dry and dusty, like your chain goes dry. So what I'd be interested to know is whether or not wax would stand up to that. Yes
is the answer. There is a lot of research out there. Josh Portner from Silka has done a lot of stuff, as well as the independent testing from Zero Friction Cycling. And generally, wax chains hold up pretty firm.
Into dusty conditions.
Yeah.
Well, there you go then. So for gravel, for dry gravel, that's what you want. And then for wet, I suppose you might as well.
Yeah, you might as well. There's loads of research about it. We could talk about this for hours. Maybe we'll save it for a separate video. Right, that's it for this week's Tech Clinic. Hope you found it helpful. And if we didn't get to your question, well, I can only apologise, but comment underneath this video and we might pick it out for next week. See you later.
Cheers.